There is nothing worse than a leader who has a monotone voice, because they make their audience want to die. Well, maybe not die, but certainly leave. But the good news is your voice doesn't have to be monotone. In fact, there are 3 simple things you can do that will instantly make you more engaging. My name's Kyle Merter. I'm a public speaking coach, author, and champion. Let me talk you through these 3 things so that you can avoid having a monotone voice and be more engaging. The first is to tell more personal stories. You see, one of the reasons that your voice is monotone is because you're not talking about things that elicit emotion within you. A few weeks ago, I did something which was truly terrifying. I jumped out a plane. Now, before you go skydiving, what they do is they bring you into something called a briefing room. This is where they put the harness on you and tell you what's going to happen. And when me and my friends walked into the briefing room, we saw in the corner that there was a lady crying, shaking like this. So I said to my friend, oh my God, she must be jumping with us out of the plane. And then one of the instructors came over and said, nah, she's already jumped. So that got the heart rate going. And then what they do is they put you on a tiny little plane. And this small little plane goes up and up and up and up until you're almost a mile high in the air. Then the instructor says, let's get some air, and opens the plane door. Then he shuffles you to the side. You look down and you think, oh my God, what have I done? But before you can think any longer, you jump. And then you're plummeting down, your gums are flapping, your mind can't even take on what's happening, your stomach's in your mouth, and then the parachute opens. You're able to sit back. You feel a weightlessness. And you look out at the incredible scenery and you think, oh my God, I'm so glad I did this. Now, did you see in that personal story about how much vocal variety I had? My voice, it went loud, it went quiet, it went fast, it went slow. And that's because I was talking about a story which was personal to me and which brought emotion out of me. And you can do this too in your presentations. And don't think personal stories shouldn't be in professional presentations. That little story I told there has lots of applications to the world of work. When we do the hard thing, we are proud of ourselves afterwards. There's a crossover there. So you will find crossovers as well. But the key point is tell personal stories. This will make your voice so much more dynamic and engaging. The second suggestion I have for you is to use emphasis when you speak. If you imagine a Word document for a second and a sentence in that Word document, every word in that sentence from a bird's eye view looks the same unless you put one word in bold. When you put one word in bold, that word instantly stands out more than the rest. And that is what emphasis does when you speak. And how do we emphasize a word? Well, we can emphasize it in many different ways. One way is to go loud, lift your voice on the word you want to emphasize. So if I want to emphasize the word important, I will lift my voice on the word important. Another way you can do this is to extend the length of time you spend on a word to emphasize it. So if I wanted to emphasize the idea that this glass is incredible, I'm going to emphasize the word glass. Another thing that you can do is you can use pauses. You can pause before and after your key word. So for instance, if I was to tell you that the best way to overcome your fear of public speaking is meditation. It's not, by the way, but you get the point. Meditation now stands out because I had a pause before, a pause after. It lifts that word up in your mental mind and it becomes more clear to the audience. So emphasize key words in your sentence. And what I would encourage you and challenge you to do is look at each sentence you're saying, if you've got a script, and ask yourself, what keyword do I want to stand out? Emphasize that each time, and you're going to be so much more engaging and avoid having that monotone voice. Third and finally, we've got to talk about pace. People tend to get pace wrong all the time when they're presenting. They tend to just talk at one pace like this all the way throughout. And what that is signaling to your audience is that nothing is important and nothing is less important. It's all just the same. And when it's all the same, it's a little bit like that Word document again. I don't know where to look. I don't know what's key information I should be holding on to. So how do we change that? We change it by speeding up for less important information and slowing down for important points. So when you're just sort of going through a sentence and you're going through that information, but you don't need to spend a lot of time on it, speed up. And when you do have to really get a key point across to your team or your people, slow things down. This again is going to give you a bit of variety because you're going to be speeding up and then you're going to be slowing down. And if we combine that with the emphasis, if we combine that with your new storytelling, your personal stories, your monotone voice, gone. Now the real you's coming out. The you that speaks to your family, your friends, when you're at the pub and you had a few pints in. If you drink, of course. The point is, we want that real you to come through when you're presenting. And those 3 tips, in telling more personal stories, emphasizing key points, and using pace effectively is going to bring the real you out. Now, if you want more tips on how to be more effective with your voice, your body language, your storytelling, your speaking in general, something you might be interested in is one-to-one coaching. This is where you and I would hop on a Teams or Zoom call, and I would work with you specifically on presentations you've got coming up. I can give you advice on your delivery, on your content, on your slides, so that ultimately you get the result and impact you want when you speak. If you're interested in that, we can have a free chat. Just email me at kyle@confidencebydesign.co.uk and I'll get back to you very, very quickly. Above all, I wish you the very best the next time you find yourself in front of an audience.